listening to Opinions and Beer.
And opinions and beer. Two guys and another guy. Will never happen again.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Opinions and Beer. I'm your host, Adam. Today with me is Ed Ray 1416.
Hello, losers.
Oh my God, losers! He keeps insulting the fan base. Why? Anyways, if you're not checking this out right now, I want to go ahead and before we even start the show, starting right now up until Christmas, every episode will have a video. So please, if you have not subscribed yet to Opinions and Beer Network over on YouTube, go do that now. If you are interested in watching this video form that we're doing, and it's starting now up all the way till the end of the 12 pods of Christmas, and then it'll be back to just the podcast audio format, with the occasional special deal that we do. Also over on Opinions and Beer Network, you will notice that we are doing a lot more wrestling. Sadistic Wrestling is obviously back. I am obviously the VIP champion. I won it from the WAW team over there, the lackluster group WAW. However, let's move on to the beer of the day. And today's beer of the day it's our beer. That's right, it's the Opinions and Beer third beer. It's our third beer? Fourth beer. This is our fourth Opinions and Beer. This is the Cryomancer Ale. The Cryomancers were a race native to Edina, but whatever, who had the ability to control shape and manipulate ice. Edina? Anyways, blue! This beer is blue! Brewed with Sabro hops and an ungodly amount of blue ice taken from the frozen bodies of the Cryomancer's victims, you should taste the sweet scent of a frightening good time. Brewed in honor of our guest, John Turk. So if you did not know, we had John Turk on the podcast. Go check that interview out. He was awesome. We brew our beers based off our guests, based off past interviews. And so this is one of those beers. This is based off Sub-Zero. Obviously, you can see here we're playing in the picture, it's me and Kanan playing Mortal Kombat against each other, and Sub-Zero is freezing Cabal. It's awesome stuff. Ed Ray, what are your thoughts about this picture? No thoughts? Okay. Let's go ahead and pop this beer open. Woo! Oh, Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the Opinions and Beer Network, folks.
It didn't get cold enough. I opened it too warm.
Gotta love it when you get beer stains on the floor.
Don't tell nobody. It's even going to be more stained because it's blue. Anyways. No, it should be fine. Look at this beer. Oh my God. It's blue. This beer is blue. Even Ed Ray 1416 is going to try this beer with us. Go ahead and smell the beer. You can smell it. It pour all over us. What does it smell like to you?
Coconuts.
It smells like coconuts? You grabbed my coconuts and then you ran away. Get it? You grab them. You ever heard that song? There's a song. It's a Jamaican song, and this Jamaican guy goes, she grabbed my coconuts and then she ran away. She grabbed my coconuts and didn't even stay. Tell me why? Does she want to see a grown man cry? I think it's an innuendo song. Anyways, let's go ahead and try the Cryomancer Ale. It's definitely a pale ale, though. It's definitely a pale ale. The Sabro hops definitely give you a bitter beer taste. The Sabro hops were powerful. What are your overall thoughts about this beer, Ed Ray?
strong taste, and then I get the coconut aftertaste.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know, a lot of the it's crazy. You know, it smells overpowering, but then the taste is very subtle and has a very nice beer pale ale beer flavor. I guess technically this is a blue ale and not a pale ale. I'm not winning any points. This beer definitely would get a 0 in in the color category of a pale ale competition. But overall, the taste is a pale ale with these fruity notes, these fruity aftertastes, and I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty easy drinkable beer for a standard beer drinker. A standard craft beer drinker would love this thing. But do you taste the do you taste the mint leaf?
No, I do not.
You know what's crazy though? Two out of 7 people, or now 8. 2 out of 8 people tasted the mint leaf. So I don't know if it's like certain bottle. I think it's settling at the bottom. I think that's why. I think when we get closer to the bottom, we'll taste it more. But yeah, there's some people like Headstrong and Vincent Von Crow both immediately tasted the mint leaf. And apparently some people are just more prone to tasting mint, like spearmint flavors. I learned that today talking to a coworker. He was telling me that there's like some people, man, they just have this thing where there's a certain group of people that can really taste mint. If there's any kind of mint, then it's going to be forefront in their taste buds. But then some people, you know, you just need more of the extreme mint, like from gum and stuff, or strict mint tea, and not hidden behind other flavors. I mean, I get like maybe a hint if I search for it. I get a hint of the mint leaf, but it's definitely not like the crazy mint, like the fucking menthol, like the menthol stuff that mint usually does. But anyways, this is a fun beer. We're gonna drink on this beer throughout this episode. We have a weird topic today, I guess. We're gonna have a throwback topic. I think this beer reminds me of throwback stuff. Reminds me of throwback Mortal Kombat. Reminds me of throwback going to Sonic for a blue coconut slushy. And so today, we are going to talk about a throwback topic. Ed Ray, do you remember Astroworld?
Good 25 to 30 years ago.
25 to 30 years ago, Astroworld. Now, what do you remember about Astroworld?
Well, if you were looking for something to snack on or something to drink or something to eat, the food was very expensive.
Oh, yeah. That is do you remember any of the rides, though? Or were you too young?
May not remember all of it.
Man, Astroworld was a staple in Houston for a long time.
And then Astroworld went downhill, and then...
No. I think, no, just a bit. Like, they didn't even go downhill, though. That's the thing. They didn't even go downhill.
But the problem was, after the Houston Astros went from the Astrodome to Minute Maid Park, which was originally Enron Field,
Yeah.
that was when business started going down for Astroworld, because one day you wanted to go to the baseball game. After the baseball game was over, you wanted to go to Astroworld, and then at the end of the day, you went home and you cherished those memories.
Yeah. But I guess, so you're saying when it went to Minute Maid Park, that's when they decided, because I mean it was doing well. Just some rich people turned into a parking lot. They just bought it. I thought some rich people just bought the land. Like whoever owned the land. Like for some reason, Six Flags did not own the land to Astroworld. I think they were leasing it or whatever. You know how a lot of
I guess the owners didn't want to lease it anymore because it was costing a lot of money.
I guess so, and they just wanted to turn it into a fucking parking lot.
Is it a parking lot or is it just land?
I don't know what it is. I think they built on top of it. I think they built around it and on top of it. I think it's just streets now and like maybe like weird parking lots for the zoo or something. I can't even really remember where it was located. It's located next to Minute Maid.
What?
Is Minute Maid still around?
Minute Maid is in downtown Houston.
No, okay.
Astroworld was on the southern part. The Astrodome was north of Interstate 610, and Astroworld was south of it. So basically, it was a neighborhood of Astroworld.
Yeah.
I mean, Astrodome and Astroworld right there, right on Interstate 610.
Now, I remember, though, parking close to the Astrodome and then walking up a hill, and then you would go to Astroworld. Like, you could walk from the Astrodome to Astroworld. Like, there was a way to walk there. And so it's somewhere next to... Is Astrodome still around?
It is, but, they've been trying so desperately to tear it down.
Oh, really?
To expand the parking lot of the football field.
So I guess if I figured out where Astrodome was, I could figure out where the location of Six Flags used to be. Though, when they tore down Six Flags, they did not tear down Waterworld, which was the water park next to Six Flags. They just left it. So there's actually an overgrown, like, eerie, creepy, rundown water park that Waterworld used to be. That is just the ashes of Waterworld are still up somewhere, like hidden behind a tree line. And so I thought that was pretty crazy. I seen somebody had snuck in one day and took a bunch of pictures. I was like, oh my god, that was some memories. That was, in fact, I think over everything, I think Waterworld was easily, especially like the Gully Washer. It was probably one of the best. Astroworld and Waterworld was one of the best Six Flags parks I'd ever been to. I'll be honest. So it's pretty shocking that they started the tank, like you're saying, or they started costing too much money. Maybe
and another factor prior to the end of Astroworld, where there were a lot of gang-related crimes occurring in that park.
Oh, that's not... Yeah, okay.
And that is why Astroworld finally closed down in 2006, much to the dismay of many Houstonians.
Yeah, I mean, it was a much dismay to many people in this area of Texas. I mean, now, Houston is really close. I say it's really close to us. It's an hour drive, but still, an hour drive is better than however long San Antonio drive is to get to Fiesta, Texas, or even Dallas with our Arlington, Texas Six Flags. I mean, we technically still have 2 Six Flags in Texas. They just, to me, they just don't seem to match. They don't match up to how Astroworld. I feel like Fiesta, Texas is overhyped, and they have one good ride, and then I think Astroworld just had. It was so fucking awesome, especially the Mayan temple and shit. Like they had such crazy themes there. Like they had actual theme stuff. Like they had certain rides and attractions that would actually compare to like a Disney World or something.
Yeah, the Six Flags Astroworld to me was something pretty good for its time. Just like the South Texas State Fair when it was on Gulf Street in North Beaumont, Texas. Yeah. And in fact, when we went over there last time, when we saw the grounds of the former State Fair, we actually saw where the entranceway was and how half of the area was occupied by apartments and stuff in a now rundown part of Beaumont, Texas.
Yeah, that's still kicking and going for the most part.
Yeah, well, when I talk about the Gulf Street version of the South Texas State Fair, it had a lot of grass, had a lot of trees, so if it got hot during that time period over there, you could go on the grass, get underneath the tree, and get some shade. But after it moved over to southwestern Beaumont, Texas, the State Fair that it is, there's so much concrete, but there are hardly any trees there, so you end up burning up. And the other thing was that there was just so much nostalgia on the old place that it burned into your memory if you were there before it went to the Ford Park area. Yeah,
you are correct that the Ford Park, it being at the Ford Park, it does leave something to be desired. I mean, it's just like, it seems like just a blanket, like it seems like a parking lot with some shit happening. It doesn't feel like an event, It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like this carny event you bring your kids to go enjoy. It feels like this overproduced, which it is, this overproduced event by corporate greed.
Yeah, and it's the opposite of when the fair was on Gulf Street. When the fair was on Gulf Street, it was on Gulf Street from 1942 to 2004.
Damn.
And back in 1940, that part of Beaumont was very different. I mean, it was actually a very progressive neighborhood for its time. It was a good neighborhood back in the day. So when people came to the fair from 1942 up until the 1960s, that part of Beaumont, Texas was an amazing place to be at the time.
When did Astroworld close?
2006.
Oh, okay. So
2 years after the South Texas State Fair in Beaumont, Texas moved from Gulf Street
see
to...
that. So I mean, that was all around the same time. Maybe it was just like maybe it was a weird corporate interest trying to just make more money somewhere, or like they were trying to change things up and get bigger and expand. Except for I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't know who owned. I don't know who owned that land that decided to destroy Astroworld. For me to, but it just feels like a corporate cash grab. Like yeah, like. You know what it was? Close to the end, a lot of rides, I think, started to need maintenance. I think the people that owned Astroworld weren't doing the proper maintenance. They didn't want to pay for maintenance anymore.
And also the taxes were rising because, city governments love to jack up taxes on amusement parks more than supermarkets or anything else in their city limits, And that's why I hate city limits, because they're always jacking up taxes at random.
It's very odd. Oh, jeez. I wish, yeah, but what's crazy, though, is because of that, and because people know now that living in the city is actually not that great, you're seeing the country is starting to go up in price. So, like, buying out of the county and not within the city is actually more expensive.
The only cheap place in rural areas and counties are boondocks. The thing with boondocks is...
They flood.
Not to mention you got to cut down a whole lot of trees, and you got to contend with wildlife.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you're lucky, you got to find out where your water well is. So, but that's life in the boondocks. Another thing about the boondocks is you're not going to have cell phone coverage.
Oh, yeah, no, probably not.
So unless you're willing to get very cheap land out in rural areas, the boondocks is not for you.
Yeah, no, not at all. I guess a happy medium would be like right on the edge of the city and rural. You know what I mean? Like you're out of the city limits, so you can do what you want.
Just like half a mile away from the city limit would be ideal.
Yeah. That way you're out of the city limits, you can do what you want, you don't have to abide by a lot of these city codes and stuff, and you don't have to be hounded all the time.
And then you pay little property tax outside the city limit.
Yeah. But then you also have like if you're right there, you probably have decent enough access to decent, cell coverage still, and and internet and whatnot, Wi-Fi and whatever entertainment means that you need.
Yeah, that's why I don't see you going to Tyler County, Texas, or Polk County, Texas.
Especially with the gas on the rise. Like who wants to live out in the boondocks with gas on the rise? How much you would have to probably you would be spending so much in gas. Like us living in the city, I can keep my car at 20 miles in or I can keep it below a quarter of a tank and make it last the week, just to drive to get groceries and stuff. But if you live out in the middle of nowhere where you have to drive a good 10 minutes to town, I mean,
that's why the boondocks are ideal for people that don't really have anything to lose.
Yeah.
Such as if you have the skills to survive, if you have the skills to take out wildlife, if they're on your property threatening the people that live with you, you take out those wildlife. Or if you're capable of growing your own fruits and vegetables like I do, then the boondocks is an ideal place because the soil is much better than in the city or a little bit outside of the city. So if you're gonna purchase land out in the boondocks, you got to think, what are the positives and what are the negatives, and is it feasible in the long run?
Yeah. Oh man, the purchasing of property is always too crazy, huh? Why do you think cities put so much pressure on people? I just drove by a sign. It was all like, "F the city. They won't let us. We're homeless because the city won't let us put this trailer here on our land because they don't allow trailers anymore on land." Which I found this out. Like, so our city, it's different for everyone, but our city apparently, you're not allowed to move a trailer onto city limits unless a trailer was already there. So you can replace a trailer, but you can't add a trailer to somewhere new. It's fucking crazy. Why do you think they do that?
Because they are afraid that it's going to drive down revenue for the city or something. Or it's going to...
Like property value.
It's going to drop property value, number one. And number two, it would make it harder for new citizens to move in because some of those new citizens would find trailers added onto a property already is an eyesore. That's why you got to live outside the city limit if you're going to get away with that.
Yeah. I mean, they make some nice trailers now though they're not really eyesores. You know what I mean? And so. But
the city government does not find a trailer on a property with a house or another trailer to be visually appealing.
I understand
to future citizens.
Yeah. I think if you're moving to this town, you don't give a shit about vision. You don't give a shit about what looks at. No, we're getting Texas is getting an influx of a lot of people, so we're seeing a lot more diverse people come around, especially like people from England and shit, like fucking out of country people will come and move here,
including illegals. Obviously.
Oh my god, I haven't seen that many illegals at all.
And then you've got the Californians that couldn't handle their own government, so they're living in these liberal cities like Austin and San Antonio and Houston.
Driving up the prices.
That's why you'll never be able to afford property in Houston.
Oh yeah, fuck no, probably not. How much?
You're better off buying property in Polk County or something else.
Yeah, somewhere random. I guess I want to double back here to the Astroworld conversation. Only because I have something I want to bring up at some point that it's a pretty topical news, but I want to keep on with this kind of throwback conversation of Astroworld. Astroworld is crazy about Astroworld because they had this huge deal with Bugs Bunny and everything, and like they have there was like Toons that would walk around, and I never seen Toons walk around at the other Six Flags. They had like a crazy little kids area with like a fucking crazy maze. They had the Texas Cyclone, one of the oldest roller coasters in the world, and like the back would come up because it was old and made out of wood. The whole thing was made out of wood. It was a wooden coaster. It was like one of the last wooden coasters ever. And the Twister ride. I think the Grease Lightning ride was there too. They were kind of similar rides, except the Twister, it would go up and then it'd come back and twist you in a vortex like fashion. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, man, Astroworld, I had some pretty fond memories. I mean, I think the last time I went to Astroworld was with Johnny and Andy. You remember Andy Bozeman?
Yeah, that nerd.
Oh my god, that nerd. What god. Anyways, I went there with Johnny and Andy Bozeman. One of the last times I went there. But, so Ed Ray, do you know what sparked the idea to talk about Astroworld?
What?
Well, in the news, there's some Astroworld, what am I trying to say? Where someone's in trouble. Controversy. There's some Astroworld controversy. You know why?
Did they find drugs over there?
No. Astroworld's closed. But there's an artist named Travis Scott. I believe that's his name. Travis Scott. I don't know if you heard of him. He's a newer artist. He's getting pretty famous. I say he's newer. I don't know how new he is. He's new to me. But the first time I seen him was that Fortnite gave him an in-game concert. So Travis Scott did an in-game concert, a live in-game concert on Fortnite. It's like it was this big event and stuff, and I didn't think nothing. I didn't know who the hell this guy was, so I didn't give a shit about the event. But all I know is that there was a bunch of people on Fortnite to watch this guy. Well, apparently Travis Scott is from Houston, okay, and Travis Scott remembers Astroworld, and he said his goal in life is to make so much money that he brings Astroworld back to Houston. Okay, now, but to raise that money and have a publicity stunt, he was doing last year and this year. He hosted, put together, and presented a concert called Astroworld. Like, you would go there, it was called, like, Come to Astroworld to see Travis Scott. And they did it at the MGM lot or whatever, wherever Warped Tour was. I can't remember what it's called. Like, they do a bunch of concerts over there, and it's like a weird lot. I can't remember. What is it? Reliant Stadium, maybe? What's a Houston? What's some of those Houston stadiums? Is it Reliant? Is Reliant in Houston?
Yeah, Reliant is the football field, but they do concerts too.
Yeah, so Reliant Stadium has like a bunch of parking lots everywhere, and there's a specific Reliant Stadium parking lot that they'll let bands and artists and stuff put together like big events. Well, that's what he's doing. He put on this event called Astroworld as a throwback. You know, it's publicity stunt to make extra money. Well, guess what? 8 people died. 8 people died at Astroworld a few days ago.
For what reason?
They were trampled to death, and apparently there was no. And a lot of people right now are trying to blame him for not stopping the concert when he's seen people were in trouble or whatever. And now there is some footage where he paused for a moment and said, "Hey, somebody help this person," but then he would stare at them kind of like evil-like and just be like, "Yeah, yeah," and go back to singing. And he has like this weird auto-tune voice, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and like people are getting trampled. And apparently like they're mad at him because apparently he put it all together, he set it all up, and they feel like he didn't put the proper safety protocols and tape stuff off, or he was kind of like revving up the crowd to push forward, to stomp on people and stuff. And so some people are put it on him. Some people are just saying that like, oh, it was just too crazy, and they should have just had better security to break stuff up when something was going crazy. But yeah, hey, I guess you haven't heard of this, but what are your thoughts so far about what I've told you?
Well, I'm hoping he never does a concert again,
Okay.
Since he is too incompetent to get security and the police to step up and stop the crowd from being so crazy.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the things that they feel like, because he was the one that put the event together. It was him, his team. He put it all together, and then he was like, "Yeah, rush the stage, come on, get up here, okay, get up front," and he was like, coaxing people to squeeze up front. And I guess people were just like getting trampled. People were getting trampled, and they couldn't breathe. They were getting smothered by other people and shit. And he's kind of egging it on, and like he did pause one time. But I mean, that's 1 out of 8. He paused 1 out of 8 times. 8 people died. He paused one time to say, hey, someone help that person. And then he watched the person die. He was like looking at the person as the guy died, and just went back to singing, yeah, 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 yeah. And so a lot of people found it really creepy and kind of scary. And there's a lot of there was a lot of like satanic imagery during the concert and around the concert venue that people started saying, man, he has like satanic imagery in his show that's kind of like a reference, like this scene right here, like this picture, like what this right here represents, like a satanic picture from back in the day. And so yeah, so he's in a world of trouble. However, on the flip side, I heard there's some band members that claim that he shouldn't be at fault. That he doesn't control what people do. He's just a performer. He's trying to hype everything. You're supposed to be a hype man as a performer. He did not kill those people. Those people died because of the herd, because of these crazy people that are just stomping at just fucking trampling others. However, like I said, on the flip of that argument was that he put it together. He didn't have any safety. He didn't have enough safety protocols for things like this to to fix it. And then, despite the band saying, well, he did pause. What are you supposed to do? How's he supposed to save these people? The thing is that some other bands have completely shut down the concert and made the crowd disperse to save people, and this guy just watched it. So I guess, do you see both sides of this, or is he 100% at fault, or is he only just a little bit, or is he at fault at all?
Well, technically he's at fault because he promoted the event. He was the man that put it all together, and the primary responsibility of promoting a concert is you got to have not only good security, you also got to have cops as backup in case security gets overwhelmed. The fact that this guy did not take the safety precautions and the protocol and to make sure that the security and the cops were there to stop all these trampling events that led to 8 people dying, yeah, he's at fault for that. But also, he should have just postponed the concert for X amount of minutes to make sure that the crowd is stable and they are in their proper places. That way, none of this continued on.
Yeah.
And people would have had a good time, and he probably would have been allowed back in Reliance Stadium to book for another concert.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've already... obviously he was big with younger people, and so he has his very own emotes in Fortnite. I don't know if in Fortnite you can do an emote, like a dance moves and stuff, and he has his own emotes, and Fortnite straight up removed all of his stuff. So anything that they did with a cross promotion with him, they removed it because of this, because it's just not looking good for him. It definitely doesn't look good for him right now, and I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, he may get allegations against him about what his responsibility is,
which will equate to several fines and, of course, time in prison if he gets convicted.
Well, I don't know. You think what would the conviction be?
Well, let's see. He could be charged with recklessness since he was promoting the thing, and he didn't take care of everything. So he could be charged with reckless endangerment or something like that, and he could probably get 2 to 5 for that.
2 to 5. It's crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. That's just the Astroworld stuff. It's so crazy that this fond memory of a Six Flags theme park is now become, if you type in Astroworld in Google, what's gonna pop up? This fucking 8 deaths. So Travis Scott, you went from let's bring Astroworld back to let's never have Astroworld again. You ruined it. We can't Google Astroworld anymore. The first thing we see is 8 people died at your concert because you egged them on to trample each other. Fucking shit. That's insane. You know what? I've been to metal shows there. I went to Warped Tour there. And, some people... it was in the middle of summer, first of all. So a lot of the injuries were, heat-related. There was, people with heat exhaustion. However, there was, Warped Tour, they have multiple medic tents. They had hydration stations. So if you were feeling under the weather, they would the medics and stuff and security, they got to you fast. They brought you to a tent. They made sure you were hydrated. They checked on you. Warped Tour, and just looking at how Warped Tour did it and how Warped Tour had all these tents in like these medical tents, and they made sure to keep people hydrated, and they treated people, and if it was really serious, they brought them to an ambulance. They had an ambulance on standby, especially like if something got crazy or someone fell, someone dropped on their head or something. Which concerts are crazy. Don't get nothing wrong. There's a lot of concerts that are crazy. It's because some concerts are wild, especially like a death metal show or these metal shows where people are screaming. There's like mosh pits and stuff, and it's like expected to be wild. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of the no one's dying at Warped Tour. No one's dying. Some people might go get hurt or something, but it's immediately taken care of. 8 people aren't getting fucking trampled. That's for damn sure. So it's definitely fault on who. If for some reason I'm misspoken and Travis Scott isn't the main promoter and the main, the fault lies with whoever put the event together. Whoever did not put in that precautions of having the tents, having the aid tents, and having medics on standby, and not being able to control the crowd, and that's on the promoter, definitely. Woo! Before we close this episode out, I just want to let y'all guys know next week is Opinions and Beer Fest Sour Edition. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be great. Great stuff. Great times. Sours. 7 different sours. Or 6 different sours. 7 different sours. A bunch of beers. Drinking at all. And guess what? After Opinions and Beer Fest, the next time you see... Well, no. Me and you, we have a holiday special. So, it's this episode, Opinions and Beer Fest, holiday special, holiday Thanksgiving special, and then everyone's favorite, the 12 Pods of Christmas. Get ready, folks. Anyways, what were we talking about? That's a crazy topic, Ed Ray. We had a good little conversation right there.
Indeed.
Good little conversation. Astroworld, Travis Scott, modern news. That's breaking news right now. I say breaking news. That is like current topic, current events stuff. Anyways, we've been sitting here drinking the Cryomancer Ale. It's based off Mortal Kombat. It's fucking awesome stuff. What would you rate that beer?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10, and he hates beer. And he hates beer. But guess what? Oh, no, I don't have an opinion. I don't have a. That's just your opinion. I missed it.
You're out of your mind.
No, I'm not out of my mind. I feel like we did a really good episode, and so there's no really counter. There's nothing for me to say. Well, that's just your opinion. What is just your opinion? Tell me something that's your opinion.
Football sucks.
Well, that's just your opinion. And that's fine. Because all we have here are opinions and beer.
We are a million.